so I haven't had
Yeah,
time for
I've been
dinner.
working straight since 8 o'clock
I'm
and
just saying
got
I haven't
home.
had time for dinner.
I didn't either. I came right upstairs.
Well, aren't you eating something now?
No,
Well, that's stupid.
I had a little cheese.
That's fucking dumb.
Yeah, it
No,
was a
no,
little.
no,
Aren't you
no.
hungry?
Oh,
Matt's being disciplined.
I'm very hungry, and that's why these beers are going to hit me even harder.
Oh, so Matt's fired up. I'm fired up
Yeah,
for
he's
this
I'm
fired up.
podcast,
hungry.
but
What are you guys fired up about?
game week, baby.
Oh,
Undefeated.
game week. Oh. The most hopeful time of the year for a Penn State football fan.
To my good friend Bill Kickle, every opening day for the Cleveland Indians, 162-0 starts today.
Nice. I love that story.
Yeah, except like 15-0 in college football is actually a realistic thing. So
Not if you're Penn State. Oh,
we'll see. I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised from the Penn State side to see that the speed will pick up this year because actually getting to train with the conditioning coach, strength coach, and all that jazz. But they get decent quarterback play. They got a shot.
not. This is not actually meant to rip on you, but like they had it rough last year, right? Like,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
started 0-5.
I was going to say, did they win a Big Ten game?
Oh yeah.
Did they play Nebraska?
Yeah, I think they
Okay, then they
lost
won a Big
to
Ten game.
Nebraska. No, I don't know. They only played Big Ten teams because that was all the COVID
My friend
stuff.
Matt out in Cleveland, who's a big Buckeyes fan, gives me like weekly Scott Frost updates. It's kind of fun. It's very hilarious.
Wait, who's the coach now for Penn
Scott
State?
Frost.
Oh, that's the coach. That's
no,
his name.
no. I thought you were gonna say Nebraska.
No, Scott Frost is Nebraska coach, and they're a train
Nebraska
wreck.
coach. Oh,
Yeah.
I actually, you know what? My brief time in Nebraska when I lived there, he had like just been hired. Nebraska people were so fucking excited.
Yeah,
Has it not been good? Oh,
Oh, it's been
terrible.
really, really, really
oh,
bad.
because he's
Yeah.
like a
Terrible.
star. He was like a star player for them and shit.
He won national championship, I think.
Yeah. Oh,
And,
that's
I mean,
funny.
he was successful in Central Florida, but that's
You can
What-
recruit
what-
in Florida. Can't recruit in Nebraska.
I mean, well, you got to rely on the reputation of the program, right? I mean, they were really good for a long time. They've always been in Nebraska.
But they haven't been good since
Speaking of
2001.
recruiting, just a tidbit here because I was looking this up for Matt the other day, my other friend. Syracuse only has 9 players from the state of New York on their roster, I believe. They've got like 6 from Canada, and they've got 9 from New York. And he said, "Well, New York's not a football hotbed." Yeah, but go back 10 years when they were having some success, like some, and they had like 34 players from New York on their roster. So
Are they still
it's
shitty?
they're going to be really bad this year. I think they're going to lose to Ohio, not Ohio State, Ohio.
Yeah.
I think they're going to lose to them this weekend.
So basically, the last time that they were like any good with any consistency was when we were kids, and it was like Paul Pasqualoni or whatever his name was the coach.
Yeah, consistency.
Yeah, I mean they've had flashes of brilliance. I mean, 2
Right.
years ago, Dino went 10-2 or 10-3.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. Is
Yeah.
he still the coach or no?
Yeah, he's still a coach, but the kind of the knock on him, and I like him. I thought he was a good coach, and I hope he continues to do well. But the knock on him now is he went 10-3 with people that he didn't recruit.
Yeah.
So now with the team that's fully his,
shit. So he's not a good recruiter, maybe.
and the guy in charge of recruiting just got hired away by Minnesota. So maybe that's positive. I don't know.
And it could just be to what we were saying about Nebraska, what we say about Syracuse, a lot of these schools, the populations change. And so if you're so reliant on in-state recruiting, which a school like Penn State is, and luckily for me as a fan, Penn State or the state of Pennsylvania has pretty good football, all things considered, still at the high school level. But if you don't have that, and then you're trying to recruit against the Penn States, against the Ohio States, against the Alabamas and the Georgias, like it's a tough. That's why there's only realistically like 8 teams every year that can really win a national championship.
Well, and yeah, I mean, if you're in New York and you're the best high school football player in New York and you get an offer from Ohio State or Penn State and Syracuse, like where do you think you're going? Like, I'd rather ride the bench at Ohio State with a shot at making a bowl game than.
Well, you'd also have to think if they're getting an offer from Ohio State, they're going to start. If they're in New York and they're getting an offer, like you're a talent that is just beyond being like the best player in New York, ooh, type thing. Like you're A-level talent there.
Right.
I'm trying to think of an example, and Greg Paulus played basketball, and Mike Hart started.
But Greg Paulus got recruited by a bunch of big.
I know.
Like USC, I think recruited him to like play quarterback and shit.
No, Mike Paulus was recruited by USC.
Oh, okay.
His
Was
younger
Greg
brother.
recruited by some big programs?
Greg was recruited by some big programs, but
okay.
And then ended up playing Syracuse that
He
season.
did that year.
Grad transfer.
Yeah. After playing Duke. I mean, but that's going to happen, regardless. You're going to have players every once in a while, but the consistency aspect, that's what kills Nebraska. I mean, that's why, Nebraska fans can be as mad as they want at Scott Frost, but he can't make people grow out of the cornfield and just like, oh my God, we play football again. We're going to play that smash mouth, triple option, whatever the fuck they used to play back in the mid 90s when they stole that national championship from Penn State. But it just is what it is,
Yep.
Triple option.
It was something like that with Frazier running at quarterback.
So anyway, when this all started, you were going to say something about Penn State.
Well, I was just going to say game day jersey,
okay.
Undefeated. I will wear a jersey every week from now on until they lose. So that might be next week.
Who do they play?
They play Wisconsin in Wisconsin.
Ooh.
Is Wisconsin good?
Jump around.
Number 12.
Jump around.
I mean, preseason rankings are dumb because Penn State's ranked number 19, and I'm telling you they're better than a lot of those teams ahead of them. But
okay.
Yeah,
When's the first game? Saturday?
Yeah. First college games were this past weekend. There were a couple good ones. Nebraska lost to Illinois. At one point, it was 2-0. Then at another point, it was 6-2 because Nebraska missed an extra point. Then I think they missed an extra point later on in the game, and they were down 8 points. And then Illinois, it was typical Big Ten. Yeah, typical Big Ten, ugly, nasty football. And it didn't even snow. It was beautiful weather. So,
Jesus.
Yeah, really, really bad with Nebraska. That's for sure.
Well, like you are wearing a new jersey every week. I'm trying to wear a brewery shirt every week, but I couldn't find a good one, and I may be out, so I'm wearing my Duff shirt instead.
Yeah.
A little old and a Duff hat.
I appreciate The Simpsons.
But, from the year that I was Duff Man for Halloween. That photo exists out there, people. You can find it if you want to.
Somebody hunt it and put it on our social media.
And I was a damn good Duff Man too. I scoured. I had the utility belt full of cans of Duff. I wore the red briefs over top of the blue sweatpants. I had the nice knee-high fishing boots that were white. I had the cape. Oh man!
Give us your impression, Duff Man impression.
Oh yeah.
I've never really watched The Simpsons, so this means nothing to me. But
yeah, well, we don't care about you, so
I'm just saying. Hopefully, our listeners do know The Simpsons and they'll understand this whole bit. I imagine they do. I feel like I'm in the minority on that.
Yeah, Ethan, you're the artist of the group. You're supposed to be more cosmopolitan. Come on.
I know, that's true. I am. You're right. I got work to do.
Yeah.
You're not a blockhead like me and Colin.
You're right. That's true. Yep. I have a very nice shape to my head. It's not a block.
So I was chomping at the bit for your brother's mailbag question, Colin. You want to jump into that right now? Or is Hannah coming on tonight?
She might be, she might not be. So we will all be surprised if she does or not. She's in the process of moving right now. So
oh shit. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, she's got some exciting news to share. So keep your fingers crossed that she's on tonight. If not, next week. Hannah is coming back. All right. Yeah, let's get in. We have a bunch of mailbags, by the way. So.
Oh, hey, look at timing. Perfect timing. Look at that.
Or is Sky PR somebody else?
Okay, who do we know that does PR for the Chicago Sky?
I don't know what. I didn't know.
Also
that was
been a freaking podcast guest, one of two.
I've never heard of the Chicago Sky. Number one. Number two. Colin has said multiple times that we can just have guests on whenever we want, and we don't have to say anything about it. We can just send them a fucking link. So how do I know who this person is? Could just be some rando that one of you guys is bringing on without any fucking warning.
We talked about it last time.
Look at him turning his head like that. Jesus Christ.
Little treat for the viewers out there.
Oh my God. So Chicago Sky are a thing then. All right, now I know this.
This is probably illegal. I probably need to come in from my other Zoom account.
Uh-oh, we're going to get sued.
Yeah. Colin, you better edit this out of the pod. My bad.
I can do
Okay.
whatever you need.
BRB.
Just stop it right after I do this.
Yeah, right. Perfect. All right. So wait. So do we want to wait for Hannah, or do we want to talk about the Danny mailbag?
Let's wait for Hannah to get into that mailbag because that one's gonna be pretty in depth. I feel like.
Yeah.
While we wait for Hannah, what I can say is that we haven't gotten any new Apple Podcast reviews lately. So if you're inclined, please leave us a review. You will get a shout out on the show. That is always a great thing. Fan interaction. That's the compliment that we get all the time. We do a great job with that. So you will get a shout out. And interestingly, I looked at the YouTube stats recently because we were ticking down a few weeks ago. I don't even remember if I said it on air or not, but I looked again and we're ticking back up. So people, including someone who just texted us right before we started recording today, are watching us on YouTube. So Ethan, when you're eating all that nasty shit on camera, just remember that people can see
I don't
that.
give a fuck, dude. I'll pick my nose. I'll fucking go digging for gold and eat food. I don't give a shit. It's my podcast.
Come on, we want Hannah to come back. Come on.
I know.
Yeah, that's
Why
fair.
do you do this with
I
Hannah
won't do
every
it.
time?
All right, when she's not a guest, okay, fine. But I was going to say about our interaction and our reviews, even if it's bad reviews, if you want to leave a 1-star review and talk about how I'm an asshole, I probably agree with you. We'll still shout you out. You know what I mean?
No, I'm gonna amend that. Leave a 5-star review, but you can still call Ethan an asshole. Like,
Yes.
I mean, that's fine too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Matt. Yes. Surprisingly, we did not get a 1-star review for your rant last week, but
I'm surprised we haven't gotten any yet. Yeah, I really am. But
all
I'm
right.
sure we'll get there.
Well, Hannah has joined us again, and I've been super jazzed up all week, hoping that she would come on tonight because Hannah has awesome freaking news to share. So I want her to start with that. Please tell the world, not for the first time, but tell our listening world what is going on with you.
Well, I'm honored again to be the second Schlub, the only Schlubina.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna dip my toe into the NFL world because I got a job with the Washington football team.
Holy shit.
hell yeah! Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm scared. I'm excited. I know it's gonna be really hard, but I'm ready to do hard things. So
Yeah, you've got an uphill battle ahead of you. I think didn't they just announced last week they're narrowing it down, right?
yeah, I just signed an NDA, so I'm hoping to get that name sooner rather than later.
No, 2 Jocks, 1 Schlub breaking news exclusive.
Because of that fucking NDA. Now, what exactly is the job, Hannah?
I'm a copywriter, which I'm the Washington football team's first ever copywriter.
Holy shit.
I think they're trying to just like really work on solidifying their brand message and kind of obviously they're going through a big rebrand, a big culture transformation, and just trying to make sure the words are right. So hopefully I can help with that.
Awesome.
Yeah,
when do you actually leave?
So my job starts on September 8th, which is next Wednesday, and then I'll head out to the East Coast, probably like September 14th or so. Yeah.
Awesome. Congratulations
Nice.
again.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to hopefully make my way down to Charlotte at some point because I hear good things.
Yes.
I do hear good things. And there's a baby whose cheeks I need to pinch.
She ain't gonna be a baby forever, so
So cute.
Well, yeah, having been plugged into the Cleveland sports world, it was really interesting to see everyone react and get excited and get angry and rationalize and talk about the Indians to the Guardians transition. So I know, although Cleveland fans are passionate, that's nothing like the fan base size and the fan base energy that you're going to be encountering down in DC. So that's exciting. I mean, that's going to be outstanding. I think that's
I know with the Cleveland thing, I think the Washington football team was kind of I think they wish they had gotten the name off before Cleveland. They kind of got lapped by Cleveland, but they're taking their time with it. Apparently, I've joined the Washington football team subreddits now because I need to get inside with the Wild fans. But I didn't realize that Washington football team is actually a pretty popular name choice. Like a lot of people like want that as the official name.
Oh, no shit. I didn't know that.
Huh.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
I guess it's kind of like, I mean, like, is it more popular with soccer teams, right? Where it'll
Right.
just be
That's
like,
what it reminds me of. Yeah, I don't know I've heard the Wolves, I've heard the Armada, or it'll be an adjustment though, whatever it is.
in the plan, right? I think that this is out there already. Like they plan to keep the color scheme, right? So it's just going to be a logo change.
Yeah, that's as far as I know.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I don't know much about football, American football, that is. So, but I think that they've hired a lot of people in the organization who don't come from football backgrounds. So hopefully I'll be in good company. But yeah, I have a bunch of lingo to learn. Maybe I'll have to join like a fantasy league. I don't know.
Oh yeah, you definitely got to join fantasy.
This might be a stretch, but don't ever tell anyone to break a leg. And if you're not familiar with the Joe Theismann, just watch that video on an empty stomach. But
yeah,
even I have seen that. So that's it really was viral, I guess, or whatever the equivalent term was back then. But what did I interrupt? Was Ethan on a rant before Sky PR came in?
No, not yet. No, I wasn't really ranting. I mean, I was ranting in defense of myself when Matt was yelling at me for not knowing what Sky PR meant, as if I know what the fucking Chicago Sky is. I never knew that until now.
We're spreading awareness about women's sports, and
which is cool. That's a good thing. I'm down. I'm into it. I think it's great. I'm just saying, just don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't really I follow baseball closely, and other sports are kind of hit or miss. So you can't assume that I know.
It's a great idea, actually. Now, maybe as like a marketing technique with WNBA, they just kind of like Zoom bomb.
Yes.
Conversations, and everybody's like Sky PR.
Oh, that'd be fucking hilarious. Yeah.
Great brand awareness.
Yeah.
So it was your girlfriend's already in DC. She was on the East Coast, right?
Yeah, so she's the reason we were even looking on the East Coast. She got a job first. She's trying to make the world a better place, and she's going to be working in the Department of Justice.
Nice.
And I'm just the one who likes sports, so I guess we kind of balance each other out. But yeah, I do have some family out in DC, so that'll be good. But yeah, far from my stomping grounds of Los Angeles, but it'll be a good adventure.
And you can hang out with Ethan whenever you want to.
You know, if you or the Washington football team ever need a great trumpet player, you can just call Ethan and ask for Chris.
Wait, is Ethan in the DMV? Are you in the DMV?
I live in Arlington. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. So we'll be just across the river. Yep.
Perfect. So I can. Yeah. Well, I'll have to come over on Wednesday nights and.
Exactly. Yeah.
It'll be the Schlub window.
The Schlub hang will be right here. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my God, that would be classic.
Well, it was weird, and it's still kind of a conundrum, but the headquarters are out in Ashburn, Virginia, but then the home games are in Landover, Maryland.
I don't think I knew that.
She's working in Center DC, so we were we were looking at Virginia, and we were looking at Arlington, just trying to see about the metro and stuff, but we settled on Adams Morgan a little bit.
Oh, Admo's awesome. Has your girlfriend already been, or have you been?
No, we kind of just did the best research we could do, and
it's a really cool neighborhood.
Things about the area, but yeah, I'm excited. I've been to Arlington. I went to the National Cemetery, of course, and excited to explore and meet Ethan in person, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a cool area. Tons of stuff going on, and it's pretty sweet.
So what's been happening in the world of baseball? All I know is that Cubs games keep getting rained out here.
That might be a good thing.
It's just
the Cubs are
really,
really bad now.
Yeah. I mean, the most important thing is the Yankees winning streak. I mean, does anything else really matter besides for the Yankees getting hot? You know?
Yeah. Well, now they're on a 2-game losing streak.
Yeah, 2 games. Who cares? After a 13-game winning streak.
By the time this episode comes out later in this week, they might be on a 5. So
yeah, fair enough.
Oh, don't say that.
Yeah, no, there's baseball it's definitely heating up. I mean, this is the time of year all the time, you know, end of August, getting into the stretch of September. But yeah, the Yankees are playing awesome. except for the last couple games.
We're still 6 behind the Rays, though. Like, the Rays have been so good all year. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? But we can talk about that later. But Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Somehow they keep winning. The
Yeah.
Cubs suck, so you're not missing anything by moving there. The White Sox are okay, but Yankees keep beating them, except for
I
the
actually,
game in the corn.
I don't know if I've delivered this fun fact yet, but so where I went to high school in LA, I was in high school with Lucas Giolito. So he used to drive me to school.
Oh, my God.
And then Max Fried, too, was also in that same class. So Max Fried is he's with the Braves. And then Jack Flaherty is with the Cardinals.
Oh, my God.
So no, being driven to school, that's not just like being in high school. That's like
quality
time.
We went to like a Jay-Z concert together. Like,
Holy shit.
uh,
And Giolito's having a good year. He's like a solid pitcher. Yeah.
yeah, he is. And he married his high school sweetheart. So
Aw.
I know. Everybody
adorable.
talks about Harvard Westlake because of those three. But
Oh, wait. You went to Harvard Westlake.
do you know that school?
I've heard of it. Yeah, there's like, well, it's a really famous school, and there are like a lot of famous like musicians and like Broadway people and shit that came out of there.
This is true.
So.
Yeah, I embarrassingly came from that school. I'm sure it has a lot of LA private prep school connotations, which are all accurate.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, you are remarkably like humble and down to earth for having come from that. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's why she's on the podcast.
Well,
I
right, of
wouldn't
course.
invite her.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying that.
I vet everybody that comes on.
Oh, do you?
Must be humble.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the application. First question:
Mhm.
Are you humble? Are you humble
Right.
enough to select yes on this question?
Oh my God.
Good thing Ethan didn't have to fill out that application.
Yeah,
Oh.
that would have been a disaster. Yep.
Sorry, I'm landing a lot of blows tonight, Ethan. I'm sorry,
Dude, fucking go for it, man.
I'm just trying to get you wound up for the next rant, whatever it may be.
I mean, I don't know. The thing is like the merge lane one. That one I knew I wanted to talk about, but otherwise they've mostly been organic. You know. So like the Confederacy, was that last time?
The Confederacy was a rant.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't on purpose. It just kind of happened.
That episode is on fire right now, by the way.
Wait, really?
Oh yeah, it's getting huge downloads.
Oh, that's hilarious. So you know, I let it happen naturally. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
So
we
good.
took a sharp turn last week. We had a chef on, which actually was a lot of fun.
Yeah, a buddy of Colin's and mine that we used to work with when we worked at a restaurant back in Syracuse a number of years ago. It was super fun. I thought it was a really fun episode.
It was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we even
and maybe I want to hear what you guys have to say about this, but I was having a conversation with my friends recently. It was like, if your spouse could be any profession, like what would be the most useful or like fun? I've always said doctor, but chef is certainly up there.
So the thing though about being a chef
Because
is
you
that
don't want to cook when you get home.
yeah, exactly. And they work crazy long hours. Like when they get home, they're not going to want to like cook a meal for their spouse. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I guess on a day off and like when you're entertaining company, it would be pretty sweet in that case. Now, I might be wrong. It could be, maybe Ben will comment on this and be like, nah, I cook for my wife all the time, but I kind of doubt it. They work really hard, long hours. So
Airline pilot. That's what I'm going with. Get that
Oh.
extra family pass, free flights anywhere.
Right. That's
I like that. I would probably say, I mean, it's not the most useful or even necessarily the most fun, but just because I'm a musician, another musician would be cool. Because making music with people you love is a really wonderful thing. So there you go.
Wow.
Ethan says nice stuff sometimes too. So
I
fuck
say,
you.
wow, yeah, that was very nice.
well, if the question is most fun,
Yeah. Okay. And also, this is assuming that the spouse loves their job and they're not being like forced into something that's, you know, because you want it to be useful or something, whatever.
Right.
Fun or useful, or I mean, yeah, airline pilot's a good answer.
Kyle, what's yours? What do you think?
I mean, if it's fun, it's got to be a professional athlete. I mean, how could you, as the athlete, not have more fun than doing that? But B, as the spouse of an athlete, you're getting probably travel, you're getting inside access at the arenas, you're getting all the free swag,
And you're fucking
publicity
rich.
with it. Like, I mean, yeah, I know some people don't want that, but in today's world with social media, I'm sure there's way less people that don't want that and more people who are like, yep, sign me up for that.
Yeah.
I always love the shots of Serena Williams' husband. What's his name? Alexis Ohanian. He's always, the camera's always finding him in the stands, and he's always with their daughter, which is the cutest for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
For
He's
sure.
and I love how like involved and supportive he is. Like he's always there and yelling, right? He's always cheering on and or
That
cheering
is
full
a power
throated. And
couple. That is certainly a power couple if there ever was one.
the inventor of LinkedIn and the best tennis player. I shouldn't even say, don't even qualify it. That best damn tennis player of our lifetime and probably ever.
Yeah. Yeah, she's crazy.
Oh, and she's a model
impressive.
and a fashion mogul and a businesswoman and like a holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, everything she
She's an
does.
impressive lady.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like, I just get tired thinking about it.
Yeah.
All right, Hannah, give us the roundup. Last time you came on, you had bad news about the Olympics. Do you have good news for us?
Well, Sky PR was covering the Chicago Sky Seattle Storm game last night, and Seattle Storm, reigning WNBA champions, suffered their worst loss ever at home, I think, at least.
Wow.
Did Stewie get the stomach flu or something?
They've had like a coaching change, and then people are saying a few of those players, they came back from the Olympics, maybe there's a fatigue factor, but they lost by 32 to Chicago, which certainly melted Twitter and WNBA Twitter a little bit.
Isn't Candace playing on Chicago this year?
She is. That has been a big deal, and she's from Chicago, so
yeah,
nice.
her homecoming. For the first time ever, the Reign, which is the team that's now in Tacoma, but used to be like the Seattle women's soccer team, they had their first ever doubleheader with the MLS team in Seattle, which feels so long overdue. 8 years since the Reign has been founded, and they played their first doubleheader, and that means that the Reign finally got to not play on a baseball field for their home game and got to play in a legit stadium, which is kind of sad, but they ended up winning. I know, I promise women's sports isn't depressing, guys, but
no, that's awesome to hear, because like Seattle's a rabid sports town or soccer town, right? I mean, they like sell out CenturyLink Field, so
exactly.
Seems like a sellout for the Reign too. Like,
it broke an NWSL attendance record. I think it was like 27,000 or something.
Awesome.
Wow.
So it just shows you that if you, I guess, host it, they will come. And then Rapinoe scored both goals in the Reign's win over rivals Portland. That's a big rivalry over there. I think it was overall just a really good thing. What else do I have for you guys? What else?
Why are the Reign playing on a baseball field? I don't get it.
I think it's lack of resources, pretty much, is what it boils down to. I don't know why they can't play in the same stadium as the Sounders, but I'm sure there's some politics happening behind the scenes that I don't know. And then Ethan, I don't know if you have to go to a Washington Spirit game. Have you been to there's no way you've been to a Mystics or Spirit game, have you?
I haven't been to a single sports game here because I moved here 7 months before COVID hit. So I was just getting used to life and getting used to my new job, and then COVID hit. I was supposed to see a Nats game with Colin and his wife at that April. So was it? I think April. Was it April?
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was like right in the beginning of the season.
Yeah. So I have not seen any sports here. So tell me. So the Mystics
So
and the
Mystics
Spirit
are the women's basketball team, and they have definitely one of like the star players of the league, and Elena Deladon. Elena Deladon. Tall.
Oh, Delaware. Sorry.
She's a killer. Yeah.
From Delaware. She's been injured and just hasn't been full fitness in like 2 years, but she's back. She just came back last week. And then the Washington Spirit is the women's soccer team in the area. They're going through some problems right now. The Washington Post did like an investigation into the team, and some bad things are happening.
Like,
So
are you allowed to hint towards us what those bad things are?
yeah, I'm trying to like not make it depressing. Verbal abuse and some racism and homophobia.
Okay, so it's not like some Me Too shit then?
No,
Okay.
but you know, there's I feel like there was also like a hint of that. It just wasn't
Yeah.
the main headline.
I'm curious really quickly, I'm going to interject and then come back to this, but
Here comes the rant.
no, not a rant, a question. Is it because we're talking about like the bad things happening and like Me Too is, obviously something that happens way more frequently than we would want. In women's professional sports these days, like in 2021, what's like the head coach ratio, would you say? Like is it mostly dudes that are head coaches even for women's sports?
Yeah.
It is, even now. Okay.
So I think actually there's an interesting I guess phenomenon that they tracked was like once Title IX was passed, before Title IX, there was actually more female coaches coaching women's teams. And then after Title IX was passed, like more men's coaches started to enter the fray. And I don't know if that was because women's teams started to get more funding. It started to be maybe more of like a lucrative opportunity. And then men who already had this sort of alluring experience or the experience needed were able to step into those roles. And then it kind of was like this vicious cycle. So yeah, even and I don't know about the WNBA as specifically, but yeah, in the NWSL, more men's coaches than women's, but there's certainly been a push to change that. And I know for even like the active players in these leagues, the league has been hosting like the coaching certifications while they're playing, to try to make it as easy as possible for them to transition to coaching if they want to. Obviously, we know how important it is to have role models or people in leadership that you like.
Right, representation.
Exactly. So
yeah,
I've asked this question on my other podcast to a number of people. I'm going to ask you, Hannah.
Oh boy.
I believe that, so like, obviously there's been women head coaches, heads of teams, whatever, who have made, really, really significant impacts on the game. But we're still, like you said, I mean, it's still predominantly males in female sports. And what does it take to change that? I think personally that it takes something like a Becky Hammond getting a job in the NBA, a traditional male sport, and dominating and saying like, okay, that shows that women can do it. Like, I just don't know. I don't know that women can do it from the inside, with their own leagues and get the type of momentum that they need. Like, what do you I don't, and I feel bad about saying that because it probably shouldn't be that way, but I think a woman needs to come into like one of those big four traditional leagues, dominate, and then they'll start to get the respect. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, we have to like say it bluntly, as we're trying to I guess dismantle this, but right now like men's sports are still the standard of what is good sport, right? Like women's sports are watered down, they're not as fun to watch, like they're not as athletic or whatever. So when we talk about basketball, we always say women's basketball and basketball as if men's sports is just like the default. So yeah, with what you're saying, Colin, it's like we already have this sense, even though it's kind of hard to say, but like have this sense that men's sports are the gold standard. And so in thinking that it's having a woman coach at the gold standard is probably, like you're saying, what it would take to really move the needle. Because when women coach women, we're like, okay, well, yeah, they can coach the watered down, to use those words. So yeah, I mean, that would be incredible. And I think in the past 5-7 years, we've seen more and more like position coaches in the NFL. And I know even like some baseball teams, what is it? San Francisco hired.
Yankees too.
Yankees have a female hitting
what
coach.
I was going to say is the Marlins GM is Kim Ng. I mean, that's as powerful position as you can get in baseball, and she's the first one. And I mean, the Marlins aren't very good, but like I read a bunch of accounts after this most recent the trade deadline, and everybody was like impressed. They were like, Kim Ng fucking nailed this trade deadline. So
You forgot to say fellow Case Western Reserve University alumni Kim Ng.
oh, I don't think I knew that. That's hilarious. Okay.
Yeah.
Went
Well,
to
and
Case
there-
Western?
Me or her? Yeah, I did.
Okay, cool. I love small liberal arts colleges, so.
Hey,
Uh,
and engineering, yay! But yeah,
Wow.
everyone thinks it's a military school. It's kind of annoying, but
Were you gonna
But-
say something, Colin? I interrupted you.
yeah, I interrupted everyone.
I was just gonna say to Ethan's point, I think there's something. It's kind of like on our first episode when we were talking about the Bambino and how he just has this hold over baseball that like maybe doesn't make sense when you like really think about it. I think that there is something to be said about getting an on-field, on-court leadership position versus a front office
I agree.
position.
Mm.
Like I think there's a completely different psyching there that like what Kim's doing is obviously awesome,
but the visibility, yeah.
right, exactly.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Yeah.
I think it's the visibility, and I also think it's like almost the sort of direct leadership or supervision of men, like the fact that you would go into these halftime talks or these timeout talks, and this woman would say, "This is how we can play better basketball." Like that'd be really powerful.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Well, all right, we ended on an uplifting note there.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
We're giving people things to think about and reasons to be supportive of the change, because like it's no doubt that women can do the job. It's just like, okay, let's give them the opportunity. Like when Hannah and I have a mutual social media friend, Kelsey Trainer, what she was saying on one of my episodes of the other podcast was like she wants to be in a world where women get the opportunity to coach in these positions and fail and get another opportunity, just like white men have traditionally gotten for so long.
Right.
And like it always makes me think of the Joe Torre examples. Like, there's so many Joe Torres out there who just keep getting chance after chance after chance after chance when there's probably someone who's already better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kelsey's smart.
Anyone who's watched both the men's and women's national soccer teams know that that the men's team is not the gold standard.
This is true.
Holy cow! And just to go back to your point earlier too, like I know the WNBA is trying to make that message clear with their advertising right now. Like what was it, like the "What's Your Excuse" campaign? Like no dunks, yeah, we dunk. Like no trash talk, yeah, there's trash talk. Like no buzzer beaters, yeah, we got it. Like what's your excuse? Which I think is pretty cool, and I like that messaging. Cool. It said that they have to have that campaign, but I love the way they're executing it. Like, yeah, it's still really, really high level basketball.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, I'll shamelessly plug that the Sky are playing Diana Taurasi and the Phoenix Mercury tomorrow. So
she still plays. I feel like she's been around since we were like kids. Holy shit! Is she the greatest women's basketball player of all time?
That's what they say.
She's up
That's
there.
What they say.
That's what they say.
How old is she now?
Oh God, she has to be almost 40.
Damn, but she still fucking got it, huh?
Her and Sue Bird.
Oh, and Sue Bird, that's the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that was what made me ask the head coach question was and Hannah, sorry, we don't need to start another thing. I know you want to go. But like UConn women's basketball is like pretty easily like the best college basketball program ever, right? And it's Gino Auriemma, right, as the coach.
Yeah.
And so I just always thought that was interesting. And I know there was it Tennessee had like a really famous
Pat Summitt.
That's right. I knew, yeah.
And there's Moffitt, right? In Notre Dame.
Oh yeah.
He's very noteworthy.
It's similar on the women's soccer side too. I don't know if you've heard of this guy Anson Dorrance, but he's like
UNC women,
the legend of the UNC women's soccer team. And again, it's like, this white guy who's been around since like the 80s and is like very much a legend. But all right, guys. Ethan, what are you drinking? You look like you're drinking a grapefruit juice.
Honestly, that's kind of what it tastes like. So all right, so Matt and I recently split a big pack of beers from Other Half, a really famous brewery that we've talked about before. There's one in DC, Hannah. If you and your girlfriend like beer, you need to go. Now, most of the beers in this pack are IPAs that are highlighting a hop called the Mosaic hop. This one, Matt, it was connected to the thingy. Was this part of the Mosaic pack?
Yeah, it's part of the Mosaic pack.
So this one is called.
I told you before I left. There was one that wasn't an IPA in there.
Oh, that's right. So this one's called Cannibal Machine, and it is it's a Berliner Weisse smoothie with pineapple, orange, guava, coconut, and milk sugar. Now, normally I do not like these things because they're way too sweet. This one's actually pretty good, and like Hannah, it's funny you said that. It literally like tastes like pineapple juice. So
That is such an aggressive name. What is it again?
Cannibal Machine, and it looks like. I don't know. It looks like a humanoid trash can, and then some bugs that are like eating each other or something. But in a good, but it's like silly kind of animation. So it's not like dark or scary. It's just kind of silly.
All right. Well, I'll keep this in mind when I make the move.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for letting me come on, and I'm back to packing because I'm leaving Chicago tomorrow.
All right. Thanks
Congrats.
for being here. Safe travels.
Yeah,
Congrats.
thank you, Hannah.
Wait, one last question, and I don't know if this would work out with your crazy schedule. If you want, Ethan and I got 2 spare tickets to a Yankees Orioles game with an Avett Brothers post game concert in a couple weeks. I can't find anyone to take those tickets for the life of me.
What day is it? I feel like my days off are gonna be like Tuesday, Wednesday. Like it's gonna be
it's a Thursday, right?
Thursday the 15th.
I thought it was the 16th. Yeah, Thursday the
Oh,
16th.
they definitely have a game. I think they have a game that night. They'll have to be there.
Bummer. All right, we'll do it. We'll do one with them another time. Yeah.
All right, bye guys. Have a good rest of the pod.
Bye, Hannah.
See ya.
Thanks, Hannah.
Thank you.
Congrats again. That's so cool.
Yeah, fucking awesome, dude.
When I saw she posted on IG last week sometime, and I texted her. I was like, dude, you need to come back on. Like it's you're due anyway, but and she's like, oh yeah, definitely. And I'm just glad she took a breather from packing because I knew she was leaving tomorrow.
Yeah. I didn't sneak it in when she was on, but I have one of the closest times I've ever been able near a famous person. I actually was 2 seats away from Elena Deladon. After a wedding, the team must have been playing. I think it's the Indianapolis Fever, Indiana Fever, whatever
Fever. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So we were leaving the hotel. I was sitting down in the lobby, and they must have been just getting there. And she sat down on this couch 2 seats away, and it's one of the only. First of all, I mean, she stands out because this whole giant team of basketball, tall women come in, all in tracksuits, and she sat down. And it's one of the only people in the WNBA I recognize, and I'm too chicken to say anything, even just be like, "Oh man, you're awesome!" I couldn't even say that. I just looked at her and then looked back down at my phone. And was just like, "Oh my god!" So for those of you listening out there, that was after Mr. Malganera's wedding out in Indianapolis. They were in the lobby at the Omni, and it was so cool. And I was so chicken, and I couldn't even ask for a selfie or anything. It was so cool, but.
Nice.
Yeah, and we don't have time on this pod to get into it, but she's got a great story. I'm pretty sure she's a UConn recruit, and she left after one day or something like that, and
to go back home. Yeah,
just went home to Delaware,
and then Delaware was a
play
powerhouse.
for a year. Yeah, didn't play for a year. Played volleyball, so in a social kind of just I'm just gonna do something, and then she was like, yeah, I'm just gonna turn it up again, and is one of the best players. She won MVP 2017-18, I think, in the WNBA, something like that.
Wow.
But go Blue Hens.
Yeah, great story. If you ever have time, go on the Just Women's podcast. She was a guest. She tells the full story in detail.
Oh, sweet.
Really great episode. All right, here's what I think we should do. We have a ton of mailbag questions. Let's get to Danny's mailbag question today. But before that, I want to talk about the Javi Baez.
Oh,
Francisco Lindor thumbs down.
We should talk about this.
Yeah. And I want to say that, and the reason I want to talk about it is because, and we're not going to get to this question tonight, but there's a question around kind of mental health and just decency in people and things like that we'll get to next episode. But it's got me thinking, I saw what Baez had to say. And, to a certain extent, I understand what they're feeling.
Let's give the background really quick for anybody who doesn't know.
Yeah, go ahead. You can do that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the Mets have recently started doing giving a thumbs down to each other as a celebration when they do something good. And Javi Baez, a star infielder, recently came out and said that basically it's a reaction to the fans booing them when they suck. So it's almost like a like pushing back against the fans almost a little bit. I don't know if that's the right way to characterize it, but essentially kind of like not necessarily mocking, but like the fans were booing them when they suck, and so now when they're doing good, they're like giving a big thumbs down.
Right.
Which
And I would
coincidentally,
go ahead. Go ahead.
lighthearted anecdote. It coincidentally is the second thumbs down celebration to originate out of Citi Field. If you guys remember 5 years ago or so, when the Yankees were playing a
2017.
short series
Yeah.
in Tampa
And it was
against
super
Tampa
fun and
in
awesome.
Citi Field, Todd Frazier hit a couple really good hits back when he was in the Yankees, and the Yes Network broadcast cut to this very large Tampa fan who looked kind of like George R.R. Martin with a giant beard, with a stone face, with a thumbs down, just like, boo, I disapprove of you and your baseball talent. And so that
Yeah,
became
so
the Yankees
good.
faux celebration for the rest of the years. They would thumbs down. A little bit more substance to this one.
Yeah.
So, Colin,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No,
Yeah, continue.
I was gonna say I don't really want to put too much color into this because I really only have one specific feeling toward it. But I want to say before I say my distinct feeling is that I can understand to a certain extent what those players are feeling when you're getting booed, and like from a mental health perspective and just knowing where we are in society these days, and like, should we be booing other people? At the end of the day, probably not. It's probably pretty barbaric, but it happens, and it is part of the game to a certain extent. But maybe it's something that we need to think about as a society getting away from. Anyway, with that being said, what he did is and what the Mets are doing, and I know that since then the Mets management has come out and said that
Sandy Alderson.
said that it's totally unacceptable, and I 100% agree because I think it is completely disrespectful to the fans that essentially help them make their money. Like, if it's not for the fans, they're not getting paid. And like, yeah, you can be mad at the fans, but find a way to do it that's not public like that. Find a way to do it where you're in the clubhouse and you want to let out some steam or whatever, but to like completely disrespect fans, most of them who probably don't deserve that disrespect, like that to me just says that is why the Mets and the Red Sox and all these organizations that have all these meltdowns like year after year after year. The Yankees used to do that in the 80s. This used to be the Yankees. Like, these type of things would happen with the Yankees, but they never happened with a first-class organization now. But with the Mets, with Steve Cohen, who we all agree is a scumbag anyway, everyone was like, oh, the Mets, they're so great and everything, and they're just they're such a mess. And Lindor is signed forever, and he's probably not happy at all. And I'm like, what is going on with that team? I just, you could have found a million different ways to express your emotions. And instead, you found the one way that was the most disrespectful thing to do.
Matt?
I mean, counterpoint, Lindor hasn't played all that great this year. So, I think he may deserve a little bit of razzing from the fans. I think your question of whether or not people should be booing now, I think that's definitely something. I mean, it's not the 1970s, throw your nickel beers on the field anymore.
Right.
I think there is one group, though, that we can all agree should be booed, and booed vehemently and enthusiastically when they do a poor job, and that's the umpires. But that's mainly because I'm still upset about the bad calls they made on Saturday and Sunday in Oakland. But it's okay, I'll let it go. But even them, even the umpires, having been in a much lower intensity, lower stakes umpiring position, it's tough. You do the best that you can when you're out there. Having parents scream at you from the sidelines that they're going to find you in the parking lot is definitely not a great way to go about umpiring and treating someone who's just trying to do their best out there. But yeah, I don't know. You're right, Colin. I think there could have been a myriad of different ways they could have expressed their feelings, even if it's something like, do do the cry sign or something. You know, don't just do the thumbs down and then come out and tell everyone that's what it's for. Like,
Right. Yeah, it'd be one thing if they just did the thumbs down and didn't give any context and everyone was just trying to figure it out. But I mean, he came out, he straight out came out and said, Mets fans suck. Like, we fucking hate you type thing. And like, I don't understand who wins in that situation.
Yeah. So I guess, yeah, I think that that's like a really important part is the fact that Javi Baez just came out and just said that this was like a reaction to the fans, like kind of fighting back against the fans. To me, I'm more with Matt on this aspect in terms of the fact that these guys are making millions of dollars. Like, deal with fucking booze. You're a professional athlete. You're making insane money, more money than the vast majority of people in the world will ever see in their entire lifetimes. You're gonna get fucking booed. Go grow up. Get over it.
Yeah.
Now,
Ask Giancarlo Stanton.
what about what? G? He's streaky. What about it?
I'm just saying, ask G about getting booed. He's gotten booed since day one from New York.
yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, but one thing I do want to add to that, though, we don't have time today, but maybe on a future pod, I would be curious, Carl, if you expanded more on what you're talking about with kind of the mental health of that. To me, that seems, again, it just seems like something that athletes should just fucking, grow up and deal with. But I would be curious to talk more about that at a different time. But I think the big issue here, like you guys said, is that Javi just came out and just like said it the way he said it. And I don't know, it's hard. I go back and forth on whether I think that like the management should have come out with that statement, like condemning their players. I almost feel like it would have been better for them to say something along the lines, just something a little more vague, like this is an issue, we recognize it, and we are taking care of this within the organization, or something like that, as opposed to being like, this is unacceptable. What are these guys thinking? Blah 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 blah. That just, to me, that sounds too close to like Tony La Russa calling out like the Yerminator earlier in the year.
Right.
I don't know. It's hard. I wonder, you guys remind me, is he in the last year of a contract, or does he have one more year?
He is.
Okay. I wonder if that's part of it. He maybe he's just not invested in the Mets
out.
and he just doesn't give a shit. Like, he just doesn't care about the Mets. He thinks he'll probably sign elsewhere, and so like, fuck you to the fans, maybe. That's cynical, but maybe.
I don't want to gloss over the fact though that to harken back to our Simone Biles talk a couple episodes ago, like athletes' mental health is important. And yeah, well, generally I'm going to think that, they're in that position because they can deal with high stress situations and they're the best at dealing with those situations. It's good to not lose sight of it though. Whether it's Simone Biles, whether it's Naomi Osaka talking about her troubles with the spotlight and with the media and with answering questions. I think that has to be a dialogue that's out there. But again, the other half is these guys are where they are because they excel under high pressure situations, under the spotlight. And I mean, I understand the Mets fans being upset about the product on the field there.
Yeah.
But this is where like the difference in sports to other industries, like we always talk about, like maybe there's just like sports is in its own silo, is like if you're in customer service or you're like at the front desk of a hotel or something and someone comes, bitches at you about service, you're not going to bitch back at them and expect to have your job tomorrow. Right.
Right.
So it's just, there's what I just feel at the end of the day, like, all right, yeah, we address the mental health side of getting booed, which obviously sucks. But at the end of the day, I just feel like there's a better way to deal with this when, you're whether or not you want to be there or not. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's not a good look for Baez, I would say, for sure. I wonder how much of an impact this will have, this winter on the market, because everybody's so there's such heavy anticipation for the shortstop class this winter, and obviously he's one of those names, and I do wonder how this episode is going to impact that.
Yeah. Well, let's see.
I don't think the Yankees signed any of them. Hot take.
I still think they're gonna get Story.
We shouldn't. His home road splits are fucking atrocious.
I'm just saying what my gut feels, but I also don't think anything's gonna happen because they're gonna go on strike.
Oh, really? Is the collective bargaining up this year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you think with top prospects Volpe, Peraza, the prospect that they're about to sign and the guy that they just drafted, we're gonna go still sign a shortstop?
Yep.
That'd be dumb.
They're not ready.
Put Volpe in the lineup.
Play
Sink or swim.
Just
Okay.
play
And you know
Gleyber at
why-
short and DJ at second.
Well, no. See, here's the reason that they need to make the move now is because they need to move Glaber to second, and they need to figure out something to do with DJ.
Fucking trade him.
I don't know if they're gonna get anything from him, but
He's got a full clause now, Ethan.
Does he?
Yeah.
they were showing average bat speeds on the Yankees the other day, and DJ's is below the average in Major League Baseball, just a touch, but
He still leads the team in hits.
His OPS
yeah, but his
is
batting
fucking
average is
pitiful.
lower than G's.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
And his OPS
so is
is
the rest of the team,
way
except-
lower than
unless your name is Aaron Judge.
I don't know.
You know,
Matt,
who
you're
else is lower than
gonna
G's?
Matt, you're not gonna win this. argument.
Glaber's batting average is lower than G's. Like,
Well,
you
okay,
know,
why are we even talking about batting average? Didn't I talk about this on the very first episode or the second episode? Batting average is pointless. Do not talk about it. OPS. Let's talk about OPS. You know, Jesus.
Hey,
All right,
I got a shout out. I got a baseball centric stat that my friend
Give it to
Matt
us.
sent me. He got it from the Dan Lebatard show, so we'll give credit where it's credit's due. But
I love
since
Dan.
2002, the Twins are above 500 against every team in the league except the Yankees, and they're 37 and 101 against the Yankees.
Oh,
over that
dude.
span.
So my cousin, I'm close to one of my cousins who I lived with for 3 years in Rochester, and she's a huge baseball fan. She's a huge Twins fan because she interned in college with the Rochester Red Wings, who at the time were the Twins farm team. I can't remember if they still are, but in any case, she's a huge Twins fan. And of course, she knows that it's, the Twins famously suck against the Yankees. I don't know that she knows those numbers though, so I'm telling her those. That's
Yeah.
amazing. 37 and 101.
37
Like a
and
700
101,
winning
and they're
percentage.
2-15 in the playoffs since 2002. They're above 500 against everyone else.
That is fucking hysterical. Oh my god.
It's unbelievable.
So good.
Really is. All right, we're gonna stick with the Yankees. So if you've listened this far, keep listening. 'cause
Pause
we
though.
got-
Pause really quickly. Pause. Matt, the reason DJ leads the team in hits is that despite his incredibly mediocre 716 OPS, he still is hitting leadoff all the time. Don't know what the fuck the Yankees are thinking.
Yeah.
Time to not be hitting leadoff anymore.
Hitting
It's
leadoff
fucking
doesn't
September.
automatically give you more hits. It gives you more at bats.
Yeah. More
Which
at
gives
bats,
you more
more chances to
chances.
get hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
If he had
Simple
been
math,
hitting,
Matt.
if he had been
Simple
batting,
math,
yeah,
Matt.
if he had been batting seventh or eighth most of the time this year, or even sixth, no chance he'd be leading the team in hits.
but again, that's what average measures. Hits versus chances. So as long as his average is higher than most people on the team, he's still doing fine.
Go ahead, Colin. Continue.
All right. We got from brother Dan. We got a Yankee question here. How big of a loss is Zach Britton, who's a relief pitcher for the Yankees, for October? His power sinker that plays to both sides of the plate when he is on is a big weapon. I know he's not had a good year, but in a short sample, that can be huge. The Yankees bullpen is going to have bodies with the playoffs starting pitching rotation, probably only going 4 deep. So I think all should be fine. How confident are we in the bullpen being able to pass the ball to Chad and Liza? Sorry, Chappie.
I'm confident. You know why? Because Severino's going to come back and he's going to go right to the bullpen.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
think they'll put him in the bullpen? Is that
He'll
the
never-
plan?
he can't ramp up to starter at this point.
Oh,
Yeah,
at this
so they'll
point in the
come in-
season. Okay.
They'll say throw 20, 100-mile-an-hour fastballs out there. I mean, they're talking about putting Heel in the bullpen too. So
Yeah.
I think they'll be okay.
If Sevy does end up in the bullpen and he pitches well, that would be pretty amazing. I hadn't thought about that.
The real
I mean,
wild card.
they did the same thing a couple of years ago.
Right.
But he was more of a long relief guy, right?
Okay.
Yeah. In 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, other teams have done that with. I mean, didn't the Red Sox have Evaldi coming out of the pen a couple of years ago too?
When they won the World Series. Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's a good strategy, and it's a way to get him innings without necessarily worrying
Wrecking
too
his
much.
arm.
You get him back in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the real wild card is if one of those two that you mentioned, Matt, can close. Because right now, the two biggest issues are the 8th and the 9th inning. Like, just when you think Loiza has it together, Loizaga has it together, he melts down. Just when you think Green has it together, he gives up a 2-run homer yesterday. Chappie, he could be as good as he was in April and October, but we don't know. And so like that's really the ultimate question mark is like, can any of these guys bridge it from the 8th to the 9th and close it out? That's really what's going to determine. They can all throw nasty shit. They're all capable of pitching out of the bullpen, but can they get the job done for what the bullpen construction is set up to be? Like that ultimately is the big thing for me. And like losing Britton, I mean, he's a left-handed arm. That's something to be said.
I was going to say that's a big thing.
I think to counter that, they should bring Ridings back. He had a very small sample size, but I think he's earned another shot too.
Is he down in Scranton?
Yeah,
I think so. He's the substitute teacher that throws 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Oh.
But interestingly enough, talking about that, because I know I scratched my head at the Wandy Peralta and the Joely Rodriguez and the Clay Holmes acquisitions, but I think it was Fansided, which I know you guys don't necessarily like, but they talked about last week that there probably is a method to Cashman's madness there. He's specifically looking at the power sinker.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that these guys can throw the sinker 95 and above, and they can it doesn't matter where they throw it. The fact that they throw that, even when it's up in the zone, the movement that they're getting is enough to disrupt the bat plane and the swing plane that opposing hitters have. So that's what his focus is, and they're talking about, especially with Joely and with Holmes. That was the huge focus. That okay, we want you to throw your sinker, we want you to throw it hard. That was it. That's all they cared about. And you look at their numbers since coming to the Yankees, and it's like, oh crap, like they're great. This Wandy Peralta guy who came over with almost a 6 ERA that I was going, what the hell? Like he had one bad start or one bad appearance when he first came over, and he's been really reliable since. So I think that's part of what they're going after. And I think as long as we keep hitting, we can kind of mitigate our other deficiencies.
Yeah, well, that's a great point. And that's depending on what side of the coin you're on, that's the great or the terrible thing about baseball is like, all right, you have to have a certain level of competency to get through the season, to get to the playoffs. But when you get to the playoffs, if you've had a bad bullpen all season and all of a sudden they string together the best, what does it take? 12 games to win if you're a wild card team, 11 games to win if you're not. If they have the best 12 game stretch of the season, you're going to win the World Series.
Like they just had.
Right. Yeah. And so like the Yankees and all these teams are just banking. I mean, all the teams are loaded up on 50 something arms and just hoping that they pick the right combination to help get them through. So in a way, it's like, losing Britton like 4 years ago would have been harder because we probably wouldn't have had, as many people, but there's so many bullpen arms these days. And, starters pitching out of the bullpen, like that whole Jabba rules thing, like doesn't exist anymore. Like pitchers just want to throw. They just want to throw as hard as they can. They don't care if they're throwing because they know that they're probably only throwing 4 or 5 innings anyway. So what's the difference between 2 or 3 innings? Like they'll get a big deal like Britton did, whether or not they're a reliever or starter. So they don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just laughing at the Jabba reference.
Yeah. Jabba rules, those fucking midgets. Or whatever they're called, midges.
Oh, the midges. Yeah, the bugs. That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about those.
Non-biting, annoying mosquitoes. Not even really mosquitoes. They're lake-dwelling bugs.
Mr. Torrey's biggest regret, not pulling the team off the field.
It was it's a way of life in Cleveland. You just kind of get used to that. Yeah. That there's midges and there's Canadian soldiers, which are like mayflies. They're big. They're bigger. And they come once a year for like 2 weeks and then they all die.
They came at a great time in 2007. All right. We're going to end this with the second question from Brother Dan. This is the fun question.
Yep.
Which backyard baseball character, Ethan, Matt, you want to break down what backyard baseball is real quick?
I think Ethan should.
Yeah, backyard baseball is sort of a famous kind of cult computer game from the late 90s and early 2000s.
What's a computer?
Right? And so basically, animated game, okay, like cartoons, but like good graphics for the time. And so the original was just a bunch of it's kids, a bunch of characters that were made up. But in future releases, there were more games, right? It became a series. There were also major league players included as kids. Super fun game. You can do. I fucking loved it. I can't remember if you guys played it as too much or not, but you could win. You could earn by doing good shit in the game. You could earn like power ups. So like as a pitcher, you could throw all of these kind of crazy types of pitches if you earned them. Batters could do the same. They could like earn these kind of special things. So like you could get these, like there was one called an undergrounder where you'd hit it and it would go under the ground, literally into the ground, and then randomly a couple seconds later would pop up somewhere on the field, right? All sorts of just like fun little things like that. And just a super fun game, classic and amazing. By the way, I realized this because I don't think I've told this story. Randomly at the beginning of COVID, like in 2020, I thought about backyard baseball. I don't even remember where it came from. Maybe I told you guys at the time. I went and I like downloaded an old version of it and I played it a ton for like a few days and it was like super fun, and then I stopped. But one of the things that I realized that I hadn't thought of when I was like 10 years old, we were just talking with Hannah about like representation and things. Holy fuck, dude.
Pablo and Kenny Kawaguchi and Keisha.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Amazing.
cover everything.
Amazing. Yeah. Boys and girls, disabled, all sorts of like ethnic backgrounds and everything. Just wonderful. In terms of that. So like think about all the kids of the early 2000s like playing that game. I mean, that representation shit, like we talked about, it matters. But in any case, wonderful game. I love that Danny thought of this question.
And so to top the actual question off, it said, which backyard baseball character most represents a current Yankee? The two obvious ones for me are Pete Wheeler / Brett Gardner and Mikey Thomas as Joey Gallo, true three outcomes kind of guys. Any others stand out? I say we could expand this to anyone in baseball too. It doesn't just have to be a Yankee.
So I would say real quick that for Brett Gardner, I don't actually think Pete Wheeler is right, because Pete Wheeler's a really good hitter. Yeah, Pete Wheeler's really good. I would say Gardy is more like, trying to think of, I pulled up a list of the characters. I'm trying to remember somebody who was like really fast but didn't hit very well, because that would be Gardy. Pete Wheeler would be more like somebody who's super fast but also like hits a bunch of homers, has some real pop. But I do like his Mikey Thomas Gallo. I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna think about some others. Matt, do you have any?
I mean, I made the joke about Pablo Sanchez being like player of the week, or Anthony Vasquez. I'm forgetting his first name. Andrew.
Anthony?
Andrew Velasquez.
Velasquez. Dang it, man! He's been in front of my mind for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
But yeah, so Pablo, for those of you, for the uninitiated, was the best player in the game.
He's Mike Trout.
If
we're being real.
But he's a very diminutive Hispanic player.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when you log into the game and pick teams, it's literally like the lineup. When you're picking teams in elementary school, it's just a bunch of kids standing on the bleachers, and you click on them and pick them on your team. So unless you think that the little kid off in the corner is, I'm not going to touch that little kid. And then you click on the stats and you go, oh, like the little kid is the best kid in the game.
Exactly.
And for Velasquez, he had he's cooled off a little bit, but he had a kind of an on fire streak of a week for the team. I'd say I'm going to go the other one though. I'm going to go with where was it? Shoot. I mean,
I have one if you're searching for it.
I'm going to say Ahmed Khan is kind of like Giancarlo. Axeman, Ahmed Khan.
That's good. See, I was gonna say Ahmed as like Fernando Tatis or Vlad Guerrero Jr. just because of like a really good hitter with like swag. I feel like Ahmed Khan with had a lot of swag.
Yeah.
But I like that with G. I think that's a good one.
Maybe Dimitri just because he looks goofy. Dimitri Petrovic could be like Luke Voigt or something. I don't know. Good at batting, but not much else.
Right.
Where little square head.
I think you could say Ernie Steele for Tyler Wade, maybe. Although actually, you know what? Ernie Steele might not have been fast. Ernie Steele was like he was like a good fielder, but he like couldn't do anything else. So actually, we would have to find somebody faster, I think, because I don't remember if he was fast. This is great. I love that Danny came up with this.
What about you, Colin? What do you think?
All right, mine's not a player. I'm gonna take what's his name, Vinny the Gooch.
Oh, the color commentator.
Yes.
Yeah.
Vinny the Gooch is Pepper Brooks from Dodgeball, played by Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman character. That's good, dude. I like that. Yeah, absolutely.
That's just every time I see, I just think of that. Like even before this question, like every time I see Dodgeball, I think of Vinny the Gooch. I have no idea why.
Oh, that's so funny. That's good. I'm gonna have to think about this one some more because I wanna come up with some other examples.
What was your favorite pitch? Special pitch. I was particularly fond of the freeze ball.
Oh, the freeze ball was super fun. I mean, the fireball's pretty good.
Yeah,
that one's so fast it was almost a
fire.
guarantee. Yeah. But the freeze ball was super fun. The corkscrew was pretty good, but maybe not as exciting. And then there was also the spitball. Well, the spitball was funny because it had such a good like sound effect. Like you could hear like kind of like smacking liquid and like see like spit flying, and so the spitball was pretty fun.
And then everyone loves the aluminum bat, the
aluminum bat,
yeah.
for
the
sure.
instant home run.
I loved the
Goes
what
so
was
long.
the crazy bunt one there where you would like bunt it and would go like flying all over the field really fast.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That one's
yeah.
a good one too. Yeah. Oh man, classic.
Yeah. I loved playing. What was your favorite MLB player? I loved to play with Griffey. I thought that was so much fun. Griffey as a kid.
I loved Randy.
Oh yeah, Randy was good. Damn, I'm trying to remember if
Wasn't
I had,
Frank Thomas in it?
Yep,
He was.
he was good.
Barry
I mean,
Larkin,
all the major leaguers were good.
Yeah. I think
Barry
I usually
Larkin?
preferred the regular characters. I mean, I used some of the MLB guys, but I think I generally preferred the others. But yeah. Nice.
Hey, do we have any copy to read for Protagonist Bring this week?
No copy this week. Nope,
No copy?
man.
no copy. Next week we'll get them back in.
Okay. Let's sorry for the silence for those who are listening. I can't speak for Colin and Matt, but I'm still looking at character names and thinking about other options for this. But maybe we should save that for next time.
Yeah, I think we've run our course. Let's say goodbye to the podcast for tonight.
We have a bunch more mailbag too. Is that
Yeah,
we have a
we've-
bunch of questions.
Yeah, we've got at least 2 more, but we'll get to them next week.
Okay. All right.
All right. That sounds good.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Say goodbye.
Bye.
Adios.